We're now going to shift the focus and we'll be talking about the evolution of 360 imagery. So ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome on stage the founder of Mosaic, Jeffrey Martin. Jeffrey, join me over here. Welcome and enjoy.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you to Michal Gula and all the other organizers of the conference. It's been great so far. So, I'm here to tell you about my general experiences in my life and career and what has led me to where I am today. My name is Jeffrey Martin. I am the co-founder, CEO of Mosaic. We make cameras and associated hardware and software for mapping and 3D scanning. So I came from the world of 360-degree photography. I don't know if there's a video. Okay. You can turn down the audio if you want. So I came from the world of 360 photography. Is anyone here a 360 photographer? Few? Cool. All right. Some of you I've known for a while. I discovered 360 photography in like 2003, got my first digital camera, and I was like, wow, you can join images together. These are not like film images. These are fungible. They are, malleable, and you can just join together as many as you want. You can make a 360, or you can zoom in and take you can take an infinite number of photos almost and join them all together. So that's what I did, actually. Started doing Gigapixel photography. This is Tokyo. Shot this in 2014 from the top of the Tokyo Tower. Here is a taxi driver. I don't think he saw me, but I saw him. So what I like about Gigapixel photography is it's an extraordinary amount of information, but you can show it and share it online in its full quality, which is not really the case with 3D scanning, which is still there's sort of a gap in the technology between the capture and the delivery, which we'll get to later. But with Gigapixel photography, it's kind of mature enough, both the capture, the stitching, post-production, and web display. So you have like a full continuum from like the information that you gather and what you can show. So that to me is great. And 360 photography and gigapixel photography is now a mature technology as such. I don't think 3D scanning is mature yet in this way, but it's getting there. So besides doing this stuff, shot lots of these. I like to, each time I go to a new city, I like to try to find a tall building and shoot one of these things. Also started, this was Prague 360. I started this in 2005. You can see at the top right, or it's pretty small, there's the QTVR of the week. Who knows what a QTVR is? One person. Andy. Hey, Andy. So a QTVR was a 360-degree photo back in the early 2000s. It was QuickTime VR, started by Apple. That was at the time one of the only web plugins that was possible to install and in order to let you see a 360-degree photo online. So this website, this was before Google Maps and Google Street View. So the original website was in Flash. Does anyone remember Flash? That yucky web plugin. So originally it used Flash, and we had to find a map. Finding a map was hard. So I thought this would sell itself. I thought I would shoot panoramas of Prague, hotels and bars, and it would sell itself, and every restaurant in town would want to. No, that was not the case. Nothing sells itself. Nobody even knew what this was. No one knew what 360 imaging was. They'd never seen one before. But as a platform, it took off, and it grew into a company. It helped when Google Street View came out and people became familiar with the technology. It became 360cities.net, which is still online. It's a licensing platform. It's a publishing and licensing platform for extremely high quality, high resolution 360-degree images. The images are licensed to advertising agencies, journalism, education, and things like that. In 2015, I started a company called SphereCam. 2015 was kind of an interesting time. It was after Facebook bought Oculus, and then all of a sudden, all anyone could talk about was VR. Now, you know, it's all AI, everything's AI, everyone's doing AI, you gotta put AI into everything, even if it doesn't have anything to do with AI, you gotta, you know, ram it in there somehow. So it was the same with VR in 2015. So, you know, we've got these goggles, and, you know, this is gonna be bigger than the iPhone. Everyone's gonna wanna be, you know, everyone's gonna be using this, and you need content for VR. So you need cameras, you need 360-degree cameras. That's going to be the next big thing in photography. You're going to take a 360 photo and you'll be able to look around as if you were there. That actually didn't turn out to be the case, and nobody really wants to you know, wear VR headsets and look at 360 photos. Not at least as many people as we thought there would be. But at the time, this was a very big hype. Did a Kickstarter campaign, raised $500,000 on Kickstarter, went to CES, raised some additional money from investors, and started a real company. We had this magical device. It was looked and felt magical. However, the ultimate engineering of that device turned out to be much harder than anyone imagined. You can catch me for a beer later, and I'll tell you about the whole slow motion train wreck that was SphereCam. It was, you know, a horrendously painful learning experience. It ultimately did not result in mass-produced, prosumer-grade spherical video camera, as we had hoped. We did build and ship a number of them, but it didn't turn out to be economically viable based on what we had designed for many, many reasons. So that company didn't survive, but it was kind of, I wasn't done with it, and I didn't feel like just because, you know, the use case of 360 imaging for VR didn't turn out to be economically viable, or the, you know, product itself. I've always known that the medium of 360 imaging is important and very useful, and ever since the beginning I've found it to be, you know, it's an inherently geographic medium. A 360-degree image, it can only describe one place. It cannot describe any other. If you take a picture of, you know, the Eiffel Tower, you know, you could probably take that photo from a few different places and have the same thing, but a 360-degree photo doesn't work that way. By definition, it is one place, so it's a geographic kind of medium. And as I figured out how to reboot SphereCam into a viable company, it was like, you know, let's build something that people want. Let's build something that has an actual, you know, business use case today. Let's not build something for consumers, because that's very difficult. You know, selling something to businesses is, you know, can be less of a challenge for many reasons. So mobile mapping, I think, was kind of the obvious choice. I'd been in touch with the Google Maps, Google Street View team already for quite a long time, and understood a lot of their, you know, desires and requirements. And, you know, mobile mapping has been around for a long time, since the 1980s. There's been teleatlas, TomTom, Cyclomedia has been driving around with a, you know, giant fisheye lens sticking through the roof of their car in the you know, early to mid 80s, I think. And that's something that has been, I think, for a very long time, a growing medium, and something that's been very useful. But it's still, you know, even today we're encountering companies that are moving into the 21st century in terms of their technology. They're moving away from, you know, someone walking around with a clipboard taking notes to, you know, automated data collection of laser data, image data, and you know, doing this, you know, surveying and inspection in the office. So again, 360-degree video, it's kind of an obvious evolution of 360-degree photography, but the way we thought we were going to consume it, like 10 years ago, that you'll have this 360 video and you'll have a headset and you can, you know, watch it however way you want. That's not how it's turned out to be. The actual use case has been, you can shoot a 360 video and then you can frame it. You can, you know, you just pick the spot where you want the camera, and then you can point the camera later in post-production, and you can create a normal video that can be shared on normal platforms, but you can do the post-production later. So I would say 360 video was kind of a solution looking for a problem, but it has found that, but it's taken many years to do that. So onto Mosaic. We founded Mosaic. We have been successfully designing, building, shipping 360-degree cameras to more than 40 countries worldwide. And the initial use case of this was like a Google Street View type of device. And you know, when we're driving around, we're, you know, doing lots of testing all the time in Prague. We're driving around. Everyone's like, "You're Google," and we're like, "No, we're not." Not Google. You're not going to be in Google Maps tomorrow. Sorry, but you know, it's always the first thing that people think. But besides the 360-degree images themselves, these cameras are very amenable and useful for creating all kinds of 3D data very quickly and, you know, easily. So, especially when you view the data from the, you know, perspective where it was shot, obviously. The car is traveling on, you know, near the surface of the ground, which is also the kind of a human scale perspective. The 3D data can be very rich, detailed, with high fidelity. It allows people to collect 3D data where drones are not allowed, or where, you know, it might take a lot of permission to fly a drone. And it's possible to get many of the same types of data that you would get from drones, but without the permissions and at a, you know, much lower cost, much higher speed. We've also been busy making NERFs and 3D Gaussian splats. Here's a NERF, this is a 3D Gaussian splat actually, of Václavské náměstí in Prague. So this small data set was collected in about 10 seconds using our camera. Yes, you're not supposed to drive here, but you know, whatever. I was careful. We're always careful. But so this data was collected in about 10 seconds. It was aligned, run through NERF Studio, and we have this amazing 3D Gaussian splat. You can see the things on the roof there, those thin objects, the shiny objects. You know the story. It's pretty amazing, and it's great at this conference to see the kind of tool chains for this to be, you know, evolving quickly, because we need that. It's so back to the subject of gigapixels and how you can actually experience the full fidelity of what you're collecting. I think Gaussian splats are that thing, and that's why everyone's so excited about it, because finally you don't have to reduce your model from you know, 1 billion triangles to like 10,000 triangles to fit it onto a, you know, mobile experience. You can, you know, get something very close to what you actually captured and deliver it to people in really amazing quality. And you know, look at these trees, look at the background. It's just so cool. And you know, I think this is really helping to mature the overall tool chain a lot. So again, with you know, our capture hardware, we can, you know, capture all the things that you need: meshes, textured meshes, point clouds. We can extract features from the images or from the point clouds. And as we move towards like AI, you know, everyone's shoving AI into everything. But one thing, and I've talked about this idea with a few friends for like more than a year now, so I want to just be open with it and see if someone can do it. So we've got large language models, and yes, we've got AI for detecting things in point clouds or images, and that's fine and it's good. But what I'm really interested in the idea of is, like, if you take something like a large language model, which is a distillation of like everything on the internet. So do something similar with images of a whole city or region, and just like imagine when you first started using ChatGPT or something, you didn't really know what to ask it, and after like a year or so, people are getting used to figuring out like what it is useful to ask. So imagine if you had a way to understand everything about a place, like every possible detail about a place. What would you ask it? I don't know. Here are a couple ideas, like, where are the oldest cars in this town? Or, show me the places with poor visibility due to vegetation. Or, I don't know what. Like, there are going to be a lot of interesting things that you can query of a place if you are able to, ingest the full, data set, every pixel of a place, like every pixel of a place from every perspective. And I hope someone builds that, because that's, I think, waiting to be built, and someone's going to do it. I hope they do. I'm looking forward to that. Photogrammetry versus LiDAR. Of course, we integrate LiDAR with our cameras. There are strengths and weaknesses. In general, I would say that photogrammetry is eventually going to win, although LiDAR is, I'm sort of, come from the world of photography. I think LiDAR is a good supporting actor, but it's, it has so many failure modes in the operation and processing of it that it's expensive. It was the original way to collect 3D data, but I think photogrammetry is kind of, catching up. You can create point clouds with images or with LiDAR. We can do both. Our customers do both. We have some customers who create point clouds from the images, and it's much, much cheaper, especially for the hardware. It can cost more in the processing or take longer, but sometimes that doesn't matter. You can often get a much denser point cloud from images than you can with even very expensive LiDAR. You can get sub-millimeter, extremely dense point clouds using just like cheap cameras. So it seems like it's catching up. But of course, LiDAR is always extremely useful still, and it will also continue to evolve. So one thing that we have done as we've tested our cameras is we've obviously you can't drive around your office neighborhood every day forever. You go crazy. So we mapped the whole city of Prague. We did this with our high-resolution camera. We did it with RTK. We have centimeter accurate positioning. We have one image every meter of most of the center of Prague. I'm pretty sure this is a denser data set of imagery than exists anywhere. And we've released it for free for research purposes. It is under Creative Commons share-alike licensing. So if you want to do something with the data that is not commercial, you can grab all 1.3 million images and do stuff with it. And please do something with it and tell us about it. Everyone who has learned how to do this stuff couldn't do it without things being available, and it's I want to give something back, and so we're making this available to everyone. I hope you get a chance to try something with it. I don't know how much time I have left. Is there? Okay. This is an example of the data set. So this is one camera output. It's about 120 by 90 degrees. Again, it's one image every meter. It wasn't captured at a constant frame rate, but it was triggered once every meter using RTK. So that will give you a better density and accuracy of the images. Just a couple of quick pet peeves. The word distortion. I've always been using fisheye images. People say they're distorted, or the concept of distortion is, I think, maybe it's a little bit of a misnomer. Distortion refers to the deviation from your mathematically ideal lens model. So pretty much any lens is distorted, although a fisheye image has an equal resolution across the frame, whereas a wide-angle image gets kind of stretched out, which in some cases could mean that it is more distorted. So that's just one kind of little pet peeve I would like to get out of the way. Rolling shutter versus global shutter. Our cameras use global shutter sensors, which makes this not an issue. That's why we're able to capture data at a very high speed, and why we were able to capture that Gaussian splat in 10 seconds. Kind of run out of time here, so I'm going to skip through that and say thank you very much. Good to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Jeffrey. Thank you so much for guiding us through.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.